Hey everybody, welcome to Glew U this week. Excited to have everybody. We'll get started in just a minute or so. Looks like some people are filtering in. Looks like we already have some people chatting in. Hey Deborah, hey Isabella, hope you guys are doing well. If anybody else wants to chime in, say where they're from, what store they're with, that would be cool as well. But yeah, we'll just give it a couple seconds to get going here. Let's see, probably like 30 more seconds, then we'll get started. I think we have a shy group today. That's okay. All right, cool. All right, it looks like it's filling up pretty quick. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen real quick and hide my face, and we'll do the quick intro. Awesome. So for today's Glew U, we actually have a new host. Nick Appenzeller is going to be running the call. He can go ahead and introduce himself, Nick, if you'd like to.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about future of data. So no-code architecture for unified e-commerce analytics. And it's going to be a large focus on our Glew Plus offering. So Nick's going to actually walk through a lot of different features of that experience here with Glew. So I will actually go ahead and turn it over to you, Nick, and let you share your screen. You can introduce yourself and get started.
Absolutely. So nice to be with everyone on today's call. And I thought I was muted before when I said, hey, so yeah, nice to be here. I'm trying to figure out this technology, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and then we can kick things off. Christian, would you mind just confirming that that you can see on your end?
Yes. Yeah, I got you.
Perfect. All right. So the topic of today's webinar is going to be centered around the future of data and some of the newer developments internally with Glew Plus as it relates to our no-code architecture for your e-commerce analytics reporting. The agenda for today, at a very high level, we'll do just like a walkthrough of the overall Glew Plus solution and kind of what that encompasses. The different pieces of that being the data pipeline, the data warehouse, and then of course the reporting layer of the overall solution. So let's start with a general overview of Glew Plus. As I mentioned, there's quite a few things that are kind of wrapped up into those two words. And so I think it's good to kind of set a foundation for what that is. So really with Glew Plus, you get a lot of components of our other offerings being Glew Pro, which is our SaaS out of the box platform that's ready to use for reporting purposes. And then as well, you get our data pipeline and our data warehouse. And those are really important pieces because that's kind of the meat of how we ingest all of our data, normalize it, and store it so that things like Glew Pro and Glew Plus with Looker can be powered and maintained and updated. So the purpose of Glew Plus really is to make sure that we can provide and enable our users with easy to use analytics and really empower all of our customers that might not have super technical experience to gain access to some of these data sources that previously required a lot of technical experience, whether it be by way of SQL or some of these other coding languages used. So let's drill into the data pipeline. So a couple things to note when it comes to the data pipeline. So first off, the data pipeline is where we're going to be ingesting your data. So you've probably heard before the word integration. And what that means is that it's a way for you to connect all of your different sources like you see here. So your e-commerce cart, your email system, your advertising systems, other marketplaces. It's a way for us to connect with those integrations and start ingesting that data. And one of the great things about the Glew Plus offering is that there's over 180 different integration connections, and those are all available to our customers with the Glew Plus solution. So with that comes a I think I want to show you guys really quickly. I'll zoom out of this and just show you the area within Glew Pro that serves as the data pipeline. So let me exit from this. And you guys are most likely, hopefully familiar with the Glew Pro interface. But if you log into the store settings area of the app, you'll see a full list of all of the different integrations that we offer. And I think one of the more powerful parts about this integration process is that it doesn't require any development work, any plugins, anything like that. Really, the only thing needed to connect these integrations are a few simple tokens and keys. And so it makes that process really, really seamless to quickly integrate all of your different sources so that that data can start flowing through into the data warehouse. I think one of the other really important pieces about the data pipeline component to the overall Glew Plus subscription is we're not just ingesting that data once and then that's all that happens. It's really a steady flow of what we call data syncs. And so the way that we work with our different integration partners is we partner with them, we build our integrations based off of their APIs, and the API basically gives us access to all of their data tables and fields. And so we're constantly running on a regular recurring basis, hourly data syncs, daily data syncs to make sure that your data is staying up to date, it's maintained, it's fresh, it's the most current data that you can have access to. And then of course we maintain that. So on kind of the maintenance side of this data pipeline, the partners that we work with, of course, things change with their APIs. There might be an update that they make to an existing data field or data table, or it could be maybe they added something new for you to start reporting on. So as those updates are released, we have a maintenance team that ensures that our integrations stay as up to date as possible proactively, so that when you're going to do your reporting initiatives, you have all of that data available to you as quickly as possible. So I'm going to go back to this deck here real quick. And of course, as I go through this, if you're having questions, please feel free to throw those in the chat area, and we'll save the last 10 minutes of this call or so to walk through a Q&A. Next is the intelligent warehouse. This is your data warehouse, which is AWS Redshift with Glew Plus. So super powerful. And this is where all of that data is stored, maintained, etc. So this is really a huge key to being able to report on a lot of these sources. Without a data warehouse, if you were to go purchase just a BI tool, you really wouldn't have what you need to start reporting. You must have the integrations built via the data pipeline. And then, of course, that data needs to be flowing and stored and maintained in a warehouse. So it's another critical piece to the overall outcome that most e-commerce companies are trying to achieve, which I think is mainly centered around driving their business, making intelligent decisions, data-driven approaches to running their company and making sure that they're continuously growing their business. Now for the fun stuff. So we'll jump into the BI tool component of the Glew Plus subscription, which is Looker. And Looker is a Google-owned BI tool. So they're obviously backed by a tried and true company. They have a very robust reporting solution. And I think this is a really big, exciting news for us because previously this Glew Plus offering did require that our customers had someone technical on their end to develop custom reports. So someone who continuously writes SQL queries, maintains those SQL queries, and builds visualizations. And one of the main reasons we're so excited is because with Looker and Glew Plus, we lower that barrier to entry for building custom reports from someone that needs to have a good amount of technical experience all the way down to just an everyday user who might need to answer a simple one-off question, or a mid-level user or power user who's building dashboards for their entire company to leverage. So Looker, the combination of Glew Plus and Looker really opens the door for a lot of adoption internally as far as like leveraging your data goes and making smart decisions. um, and I think what we'll do is I'll jump out to Looker just to walk you through a quick demo. I'd love for you guys to walk away knowing kind of the overall experience of working and building reports inside of Looker, and kind of that drag and drop or point and click functionality that we're describing here. Escape from this. Cool. So this is the interface of Looker, which is connected to Glew Plus. Again, I want to reiterate that without Glew Plus and the data pipeline in the warehouse, really Looker is a shell of a BI tool. There's a lot of development work on our end that we've done in preparation for this rollout, to make sure that our users are enabled, they have all of the data available, and that we do give them that point and click or drag and drop report building experience. So what we're drilled into here is just a simple homepage. This is going to be where all of your dashboards live. And of course, there's ways to segment out this content and make sure that it's stored in the appropriate place so that the appropriate audience can see them. But I'm going to quickly run through some of the development work that our team has done to power Looker, and then I'll quickly show you a snippet of how to build reports. So we've built out our development work for our integrations, and for each integration, we've built out all of our data tables, as well as the models. And I want to just touch on the models quickly, because this is a big piece of the overall Looker solution being as powerful as it is. We've done all of the complex data joining and relationship forming on our end, so that when you log in, there's no code required. So I want to stress that again, it's no code environment. Anyone can use this tool, which I'll show you here in a second. So the customer facing tab of Looker, of course, you'll have these different folders down here, but the main place that you'll be report building is within this Explore tab. So when I click into Explore, you'll notice that this left-hand navigation is going to populate all of our different integrations that we have built. And then additional to the integrations that you see, there will be subfolders underneath each of those that will outline the level of data granularity that you're zoomed into. So let's give this 1 second to load. Cool. So here you'll see and probably recognize some of our more common integrations. If I search for Shopify, you'll now see those subgroups that I was mentioning. So customer data, inventory data, order items, so on and so forth. Pretty intuitive. And of course, you can explore these by drilling in. So right now we are looking at order item related data. So this is transaction level data, and it's looking at the contents of each of your transactions. And within this, because we've pre-joined and have all of that maintained data on the development side, you'll notice you've got a few different tables that are included in here. So there's product level data and then your order item level data. So as far as report building goes, you'll notice all of your product fields in this left-hand nav, as well as your order item fields. So let's say, for example, we wanted to build let's do a table that shows products broken down by revenue. So we can simply click base name, and you'll notice that's going to populate. And then we'll also find our revenue field, which is at the order item level. And we can take a sum of that. And then you can also do things like add filters for any of these fields, which makes refining your data really easy and fast. So in this case, because I'm in a demo environment, I'm going to use this store ID field to just refine the results and make sure we're not pulling millions of different records. So we can click this filter button, and you'll notice that pops up here. And once I run the results here, you'll notice that this data table is going to populate with, based on the criteria that I selected. From here, you may want to clean up your data a little bit. Right now, in raw form, this data has, I think, 8 different decimals. Again, very easy to format, make formatting updates. So we may want to rename this revenue for store 1, and then make this an appropriate formatting data format of US dollars. So we can start to get that cleaned up. And once you are satisfied with the results that you've generated in this table, at that point, you can expand this visualization tab. And I'm going to say it again, no code required to switch between these different visual types, which is huge. A lot of other BI tools, depending on the visual you're trying to create, may require things like additional to SQL, but Python or JavaScript or HTML coding languages, this is all point and click and editable through the visualization setting options here. So I won't go through each of these, but you'll notice there's quite a bit of flexibility as far as the formatting and setup of each visualization goes. And just like that, we've got our table broken down by product, showing a sum of revenue for each product. And if I was happy at this point with this metric, I'd be able to save the actual metric itself so that I can repurpose it in future reports and not have to spend the 2 minutes or 3 minutes I just spent building this again, or I can just add it to an existing dashboard. So I hope that was kind of a good sneak peek. I guess the last thing that I want to showcase to you is the dashboard view. So once you have a few of those metrics that I just showed you built out and you start adding them to a dashboard, you'll generate a view that looks or may not look like this depending on what visual you choose, but a comprehensive dashboard with all the metrics that you put together. And at this point, you can interact with this report. You can do things like add filters. So really user-friendly. Again, really the power of our new partnership with Looker is the fact that we're enabling our end users to come in here, not have to have coding experience, and get the results that they want to get very quickly. So I will stop sharing this. Let's go back to our slides. And I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but if anyone on this call is curious about the different integrations that we have set up within Glew, I would definitely encourage you to, if you're already a Glew user, whether that's Glew Pro or Glew Plus, definitely access the store settings page. That's gonna give you a comprehensive list of our integrations. As well, we'll make sure to send out a link following the call so that you can view all of our integrations. And lastly, the slogan, your company shouldn't fit into a box, but your e-commerce data should. And I think that overall is what I hoped to showcase to you today is that Glew Plus, it's the one-stop shop solution for what typically would take 4 to 5 other platforms. We've got it nicely wrapped up in a bow where, from the day you sign up, you can use our data pipeline to integrate your data. That data will be stored and maintained in our data warehouse. And then you can access that data by using Looker, the visualization component to the subscription. So I hope that was helpful. Again, if there's any questions, please leave them in the chat. And Christian, unless you have any other items for this call, would love to open it up for a Q&A.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a few questions popping in already. So we will start with the first one. It's from Zach. He said, are users able to see the backend code that you just showed, able to use code if they choose to?
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now, because there's no need to code in Looker. That develop tab that I showcased is just strictly internal for our team to use. So we're setting all of that up in advance so that when you go in there, you can report on anything that you need to. So there's really no need with all of Looker's functions, which we can expand on in future webinars. There shouldn't be any need to actually adjust the code because there are options directly within the Looker UI and Explore that will allow you to customize your different fields, that will allow you to join data between other sources without having to write code. So everything on the front end should be accomplishable without ever having to access that develop tab.
Cool. Second question is from Marcus, and he asked, how do I add a custom metric from Looker in Glew Plus reports, specifically individual SKU as a percentage of total revenue?
How do I enter a custom metric from Looker in Glew? I'm not sure if I understand. Is the question that you're asking, Marcus, is it related to where you'd actually be viewing the custom reports once they're built in Looker? Maybe if you're there, you could chat back. Sorry, I might need a little bit more information for that.
He said,
can I include a Looker metric in a Glew report?
See the questions.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Great question. Yeah. So right now, this is obviously a fresh partnership with Looker. So we are taking a phased implementation approach. The options for viewing content as it stands today would include, obviously, if you have Looker users, they can log into Looker and interact with that content directly in the platform. Alternatively, they can email reports to anyone and also use Slack, if that's a tool they use internally, to email those. I mentioned that because we do have a planned phase 2 that's in the works for building out our embed functionality, which would allow you to, when you're inside of Glew, to access your Looker reports directly through this BI tunnel tab. So it's on its way, and it's a high priority for us to make sure that you can experience that without leaving Glew. All right, we'll keep it rolling. Sika, would users have to go to 2 different places to review reporting, or does Looker reports get saved in the native platform? Okay, I believe that my last response answered that, but if there's anything additional, Sika, that you need to know, definitely chat back. And then it looks like there was a response from Zach. The reason that I asked for the backend code is that we've never really had a true data dictionary to see how fields are calculated. Thank you, though, Nick. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that, Zach, because another action item on our plate as far as this implementation goes is related to a data dictionary. So we do have an installed application on top of Looker that's being worked on to provide a data dictionary so that you can see how some of those fields are being pulled in and what they actually represent.
I think this last question from Marcus, he said, is it possible to create a metric like product as a percentage of revenue? I think the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think we're on to Brian. Correct me if I'm wrong, Christian, but
yep.
Will there be an ability to share custom report layouts with other Glew users? So as long as that Glew user is also a user of Looker, you can share content with them, content that you've built in Looker with them to use or expand upon or reduce or whatever they want to do. So I think to answer your question, yes, there's just a prerequisite that the Glew user is also set up to be a Looker user. And Marcus has a question. Can I include a Looker metric in a Glew report? Oh, I think we answered that one. Is it possible to create a metric? Okay, yes, we answered that too.
Yeah, if there's any more, I think we got all the questions. Looking at this, Nick. Any other questions while we got Nick here? He's got all the answers. So anything you can think of, ask.
That's right. Don't be shy.
If you, for whatever reason, do not, you think of a question, 20 minutes after the webinar, well, obviously, you can reach out to myself. You can email your account rep if you are a current customer at Glew, and they'll get the questions routed. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll get it routed. Nick, I know you're busy, but so I'll let you decide if you want to get direct reach outs or not. But but yeah, that's don't worry if you if you think of it later.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll hang for a couple more minutes and see if it looks like it wound down. One more from Sika. Just to be safe, data from all integrations will be available on Looker. That is correct. So right now, our approach to the integrations that we have built in Looker is based on the number of our customers that use each integration. So we have a roadmap, and yes, when we're finished with that roadmap, all 180 integrations will be live within Looker. If you have questions on the timeline of those, definitely reach out, and we can guide you guys there.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, yeah, we're excited too. Well, oh, we got one more. For customers that have a CTU, will those be available in Looker?
Yeah, really good question. So custom tables, some of you might not be familiar with that, so I'll just describe what that is really quick. A custom table is basically a process that we have internally in a solution where if you have data that's not flowing through a standard integration that we have, one of those 180 that we've mentioned, we do have a solution to load a flat file of data. So think about this as like forecasting data or goal data or target data, something that doesn't get captured anywhere else. Those tables will be available within Looker. So our team, our client success team, would work with you to get that CTU loaded into the data warehouse. And then we'll add that to your instance of Looker so that it's available for reporting.
That's a great question. All right. Like they keep kind of coming in here, so maybe we'll give them like 30 more seconds. If you are a current customer on our Glew Pro system, feel free to reach out to your rep as well. They can definitely help you. So let's see.
I need to create a Looker account to create my own report layouts for Google Analytics data. So great question, Brian. Your Looker instance will be provisioned to you during your Glew Plus onboarding. So from the time that you onboard with Glew Plus, we'll go ahead and provision that Looker instance to you. There's nothing that you need to set up on your end as far as an account or anything. The invitation would come from our team to you, and from that point on, you'd have access to your Looker instance. May have come to an end, Christian.
I know I'm holding my breath. All right, let's do like 15 more seconds. Just make sure. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Brian, that's perfect. Yeah, and just to everybody, if you don't know who your rep is, you can reach out to me. I'll intro you. But you should know. But thanks again to everybody for joining today. We really appreciate when we get a big audience for these. We like doing them. So, and shout out to Nick. Thanks so much. Your expertise is always appreciated.
I was happy to be here. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Awesome. Well, have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you all very soon.